Has he just described the enthusiasm for being back and what you're feeling in the room as these guys hit this last
We're excited. 2 good practices. Energy was good. Guys were excited to be back here. Could feel it in the room, on the ice. The first one was a bit rusty, but yesterday was really good. We're all excited to be back.
Do you always worry a little bit about what the first period's going to be like, how much rust has developed over the break?
I worry about the first period, 82 games a year. Yeah, for sure. We're going to keep it simple and manage the game and go from there.
Can you say where Texier is now, more than a half season back in the NHL, relative to where he was when he
real good start. I think he's learning. So he can play center, can play wing. We know he can play the power play. You might see some time tonight on the power play. But I think his skill set and what he does well is building his speed and using his speed because he's got quick hands. But for him, being a winger is more, it's better for him as far as seeing what he can do on the ice. And he's not, maybe, I wasn't there when he got drafted here, if he was expected to be an offensive guy, but we see him on the penalty kill. He's doing a real good job. He's playing the 200-foot game. He can create offense. He's the kind of guy that, you put on a line, that line will get better. You get more speed, all of us. He can create something on every line, whether it's a top offensive line or more of a checking line. He's able to adjust. So I don't evaluate him as far as points and assists, but creating offense, yes. Defending, yes. So we have different numbers for that. So that's what I'm seeing, and he's becoming. And it takes time in the NHL to get there, but he's a more mature player today than he was a year ago or even in September.
What can you learn about your team in the final 32 games of the season?
Well, we're going to stick to the process here, and we live a day at a time. I'll answer that question at the end of the year, what we've learned, because it's consistently not consistent, if it makes sense. It's always depending on how we play, how we're going to adjust to that, injuries and all of that, the things we don't control. But what I know so far, I can tell you what I've learned about the team as of today is we've been improving. They're all in. They want to do the right things. We're creating a team that is accountable. And at first that came from me, and now it's coming from them. And that's where you want to go to. The winning teams in the NHL, the room is ran by the players. And I say that in a very positive way. The leaders are taking over. We play that way, and that's what we're going to do. At first, we had to do that. And it wasn't because the leaders couldn't do it. It's just that we wanted to set the foundation. So now they're taking over. And it's not about X's and O's. It's about accountability. We want to define who the Blue Jackets are, what you should expect every night when you play against us, what we should expect from ourselves every night. And that's what we're defining so far. And the trend is very consistent, and we're moving forward. So, and playing for the Blue Jacket is earned, and your ice time is earned, your position is earned, and that's what we've been creating all year. And when you do that, some people will get mad, some people will get pissed off, some people won't agree, but as a team concept, we're building that foundation. When you play here, when you wear this, it's earned, and that's where we're going, and the team is responding extremely well.
Back in training camp, going all the way back there.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about when we asked about systems. Were they going to be different? And
yeah.
Defensive zone and things like that.
Yeah.
You were talking about how it's going to take some time for the people to adjust.
Yeah.
And you didn't know how long.
Yeah.
But eventually, the goal was just play hockey.
Yes.
And I'm wondering where you guys are at on that process. With 32 games left, how close are you guys to just playing hockey?
So the way to evaluate that for us, and that's what we do. Like when I watch a game, tomorrow I'm going to watch tonight's game, and it takes me 5 hours. and the assistant coaches do the same thing. So we see everything. Like it takes 5 hours because we watch every actions, every pass, every players. Like we have a big bank of data, and the systems. The way to answer your question is what we were showing the players early in the season when we did those reviews after the games are way different now. Now it's the systems, the foundation. We don't have to revisit that. Now it's just little actions here and there, a little adjustment. Or sometimes we say, well, we talked about that adjustment before the game. We weren't able to do it. Let's revisit that. And so we're getting there, and the numbers are supporting what we're saying. Because when we look at, there's different ways. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to expand on this. You can look at the stats from day one up to now, which is fine. You can look at the stats the first 3 months or since the Christmas break, which is, let's say, January 1st. And the numbers are different, and we're improving.
So is that something that you can see from the bench as well? Like you can get a good
Oh
feel
yes,
for it?
absolutely. Because we've built the trust with the players that the main systems, mistakes will be made. It's a game of mistakes, but the main blocks like the D zone coverage, the neutral zone forecheck, the offensive zone forecheck, tracking, our offensive game, the main routes are respected. There's still a lot of growth, obviously, but it's way cleaner. Let's put it this way.
I know it was a couple weeks ago. Do you have any lineup changes from the last game?
Same lineup as the last game in St. Louis, except for Boquist coming back in. So it means that Andrew Peak will be out.
You spoke yesterday on emphasis on being defensively sound.
Yep.
You've got defensemen who are among the top 10 in points in the league right now. How are those two things related?
It is quite related. The better, you're better. I mean, my mindset, and it may sound ridiculous, but I know it's not. I've been in this sport for such a long time. I think about playoffs. That's the way we want to play. The way I want us to play is a playoff style, and that's good for our players. Like we need to adjust according to their skill sets. But we think that way. We think playoff hockey. What do you need to do to win in the playoffs? Now, yes, we have to make the playoffs. We'll have to make the playoffs, right? And we're going to get there. But once we make the playoffs, we don't want to play 4 games and we're done. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to make the playoffs and have success in the playoffs. And playing sound defensively will help you win games in the playoffs. You have to. And then it allows you to be more creative offensively. And I think by playing better defensively, you're automatically a better offensive team. And it doesn't translate in the number of shots, but more so in the quality of chances. And creating offense, it's not a dangerous part, but the danger about thinking offense is, yes, you will create more offense, but what you're going to give up is way too dangerous. So it's creating offense, but having that balance between creating offense and playing without the puck. We want to create offense, but if we lose puck possession, on any play, we're in a good position. We're in a good structure to defend at that. Because turnovers, like change of possession, happens every shift. So, but creating more offense, when you play defense, obviously you get the puck back right away or quicker, and then you can create offense from there. And creating offense could be breakouts, could be a neutral zone regroup. It's not necessarily in the offensive zone, but we want to be a puck possession team like the other teams in the league. And in order to do that, you have to be good defensively.
Along the lines of defense, back at the 1-0 St. Louis game, when you look back at that, what was your team able to do so well to make that one of your best defensive efforts of the year, and then how can you build off that?
I think it was a real good effort defensively, but both teams were really sharp defensively. Like it's a 1-0 game, so it wasn't much. The 2 goalies were really good. But I think it's going back to the previous question is the building blocks of where we are. We're still, so as an example, teaching the D-zone coverage to our team and the way I want us to play, There was steps, and early in the season it was to protect the middle, and now we're adjusting how our D will move. We adjusted our wingers will move, our center will move, but with creating a foundation and moving forward, and we're getting better at that. So the last game, it's about the chemistry and the players being all in. It wasn't about X's and O's. It wasn't about anything I've said before the game or in between periods. It was them saying, we're going to finish that trip and do it right. And the effort was out. I know those guys. I was tired and I didn't play a single shift. Those guys were exhausted, but no excuse. We don't want excuses. We had a ton of injuries. I've never complained once about that. We don't do that here. It was, we have that game to play. We're going to play it right. The guys just did it the proper way, and we made some mistakes, obviously, but that was a very solid game. But it kind of shows a little bit of where the team is heading, like the chemistry we're having. We don't want to be flashy. We want to be good. We want to be consistent. We want to progress. We want to get better as a team. And I think the last game was a good example of where the mindset of the team is. Thank you. All right. Thank you.